Hey everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katy. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are going to run through our top 10 two-player games.
Two-player only games.
Two-player only games. Yes, let's make that clarification. We play 90% of our games as two-player games. However, we wanted to narrow that focus down a little bit and only go after games that are built to be two-player only games. That being said, let's get started. My number 10 is probably the biggest on my list. It's probably the biggest two-player game we even own. This is Fields of Arle. This is a Uwe? Yeah, Uwe. Yeah. This is an Uwe Rosenberg game that it feels like it should be bigger. As a matter of fact, they have since come out with a third-player expansion, but we've never played a third player. We own it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why we bought it because
it came out with other stuff for it. Other items that you can get to.
It did. Everything. That's true. It did. So this is essentially a farming type of game. The game runs in a number of seasons. I know all of
it's a new game.
I know. But the game runs over a number of seasons, and for you are doing a series of actions. I think it's 4 actions per season. Mm-hmm. And you have to stay on one side of the board, the actions that are available in the spring or the actions that are available in the fall. And then over the summer and the winter, you do a lot of upkeep type of stuff. So you do 4 actions. You can cross seasons, but it costs you if you do that. So it's possible though, if you really have to get to that action. But you are building you're building wagons and you're building boats and you are doing various things to build up your farm. Typical Uwe, I guess, but it is. I really enjoy this one. It's a very heavy two-player game, and it's nice to have that crunchiness that was designed to only be two-player. You don't have to make accommodations for the fact it was designed at 4, but you're playing it at 2.
Yep.
So anyway, that's Fields of Arle.
Good pick. Okay, my number 10 is probably like in your top 1, 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
This is a two-player game that we actually have a video for, and this is Mandala.
Okay.
This is all about the card play. You got your cloth board out there, mm-hmm. and remind me, it's the mountains and the valleys or whatever.
It's the mountain. The fields, and then the river.
The river. Yeah. The river is where you're placing cards that you're getting.
Yes.
The field is where you're laying cards to your side, and then the mountain is where you're putting cards in. It's all about the different cards. There's 5 different styles. 6 different card types. You're either going to lay them in the mountain or you're going to lay them in your field. And when that mandala has all 6 types up there, it breaks, and the person who has the most cards laid out. Yes. Gets to choose what cards he's going to get to score, and you put them in your river, in the cups in the river as to however you got them. Yeah. One goes in the river, the other goes into your cup for scoring later. Yeah. But it's really cool. I mean, I don't win it that often, but it's a lot of fun. That's probably why it's number 10. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun to play. Just trying to be that person who has the most out there to break that mandala to be able to get what you need. And then sometimes somebody sneaks in there and takes it. But I won't name names.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
But yes, that is my number 10, Mandala.
All right, that's a good one. That may or may not show up later on my list. Yeah. What?
Nothing.
Okay,
Nothing.
Were you making a prediction?
Yes.
What was your prediction?
They know. Go on.
Okay, fine. My number 9 is actually the second version of this game, which I found this was kind of funny because, all right, so my number 9 is Fox in the Forest Duet. Now, I never quite understood why it had to be called Duet because the original Fox in the Forest was a 2-player game, or is a 2-player game only. It is a 2-player trick-taking game. Fox in the Forest Duet changed it up a little bit and actually added a board. Between the two, I prefer Duet. As a matter of fact,
It takes a 2-player trick-taking game into a 2-player trick-taking co-op game.
Yes, that's true. So Fox in the Forest itself came in at number 20 for me. This one came in at number 9. It does make it a cooperative game. The idea being that you are playing on a board with one token that is basically playing seesaw, or not really seesaw, tug of war.
Yeah.
You're playing tug of war with this one token. You don't want it to fall off the board, but you want it to land in areas where you're going to be able to pick up gems or whatever they're called in the game. I don't remember what they actually call the little cardboard chips. You're trying to keep it on the board by playing out cards cooperatively. You can't talk about what you're playing, and it's all based on the little paw prints that are on the card as to how far it's going to move. This is a great 2-player cooperative game. Very interesting. Fox in the Forest duet. My number 9.
Number 24.
Number 24? Okay.
Yeah. My number 9. I'm not sure how. We've had this one for quite a while.
Okay.
There is a new printing of it out with better artwork and stuff and a new box design. But this is Jaipur.
Oh, okay.
Or Jaipur, or however you wish to pronounce it.
Yeah.
This is all about I think it's a Turkish market.
I think so. That would
where
make sense.
You are either selling your cards. If you have a certain amount of cards in your hand, you're selling, like, say I have 4 of the silver. I have 4 silver, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to take 4 tokens of the silver, and that's going to be points at the end. Or I'm going to take all the camels in the market, and then I'll replace all the cards in there. Or I can trade just 1 card for 1 card, or 2 to 5 cards for 2 to 5 cards out there, however you wish to do it. But the whole point is to try and get sets put together so you can get scoring tokens from the side.
Yeah.
Also with the camels, if you have the most camels at the end of the round, you get an extra 5 points. Yeah, so it's all about trading in this market to get everything you need. I mean, is it okay? I'm going to put these 2 cards out there, but I really need these 2 cards. But I really could use those cards, but I'll get them here in a minute, and then somebody else takes them.
I win this,
and they don't ever get it. But yeah, this is another one that I really like, and I don't win that often. She seems to be able to know exactly what I need in my hand, and she'll just take them just to be evil.
No, I take them because I need them.
To be evil.
I don't ever take to be evil. I take because I need them. I don't care what you need.
Anyway, this is my number 9, Jaipur.
Okay. All right. My number 8. My number 8 is probably the most brain-burning game we own, if that is a phrase.
Yep.
Whether it be 2-player or 10-player, it doesn't matter. This is the most brain-burning game we own, and that is Curious Cargo. Holy mackerel. I feel like I need a nap after I've played this game. But I love it. With this one, you're playing a trucking company, essentially, and you've bought this factory. You are making what could only be referred to as a curious cargo that you are shipping to another factory. So you are trying to set up your shipping and receiving lanes out of your central hub in your factory building to both load stuff to other trucks that can be shipped over to your opponent. But meanwhile, you have to set up the receiving side to offload stuff that your opponent is sending to you, because that's how you score points. You have to be able to match both to get those points scored. You can lay over tiles as long as you have scaffolding to support the other half of the tile. It is just really interesting the way they do it. It comes with 2 different variations. You got the 2-color side and the 3-color side. We have done the 3-color side once. Wow. It's rough.
Our brains melted.
Yes, it really did. I don't know. It's all on pipeline. That's essentially what it is. You are laying out pipes of various different colors, trying to match everything up. Really good game, though. Really neat 2-player game, and how the trucks operate and shift from one side to the other, because you have to play across from each other. Because when you fill up a truck and you kick your truck off by playing a new one, it literally will go over to your opponent's board, and now your opponent is tasked with getting them off, and they have to have the pipes there to
the
do
right
so.
color of pipe
in
the right area to pick it up.
Yes. Oh, it's so interesting.
While your opponent's still pushing trucks across because he's filling them up.
So you want to
they
get them done.
They could leave your docks and not ever be.
Yeah. be emptied. Took too long. They left. Went someplace else. I don't know. But anyway, I love it. Very brain burning, very intense, but a very good game. But that is Curious Cargo.
Your number 9?
My number 8.
Oh, that's right. You went
8.
first.
Yes.
My number 8 is an old 2-player game. I think we actually had the board game version of this before we had the card game version of this. And this is Lost Cities.
Oh, yes, we did.
I think it's the very first game that we had to start playing, where we were playing, you had different areas. You're going to play cards to the different areas depending on the colors, but you have to play them in ascending order, and if you don't, then you can't use that card, and you're going to score points. Cards you have in a row. If you have the what is the agreement handshake or whatever card at the top,
negotiation,
and you
or
don't
something
get
like
it,
that.
you're going to lose 20 points if you start it and didn't get it.
Something
So
like that.
it's another, it can be brain burning trying to figure out what cards can I get in there, how long do I hold on to this 10 when I don't even have that set started, or what cards you got to watch what your opponent's doing, because you don't want to throw a card down that you can't use and they can just pick it right up and then just lay down a whole row of cards. So
it's a good one. You've got to figure out, and this did not appear in my top 10, surprisingly enough, but you've got to figure out, it's a balance between wanting to do all of them and knowing that there's no way to score points on all of them because you're going to lose points if you do.
Yes.
So you have to rein that feeling in to 3 or 4 at max out of the 6. So yeah, it's
this is another one that I really like, that I don't win it a lot because somebody usually does. We've seen a trend here. 2-player games seem to be her little thing here.
Maybe. I don't know what my win ratio is on some of these.
I'll look it up and you can put it down at the bottom.
Okay. We should do that. Totally. All right, my number 7. My number 7 is a spin-off of a much heavier game. We picked this one up because the initial game that it was derived from was a 3 to 5. And we really liked it, but getting anything played at 3 to 5 was rough. Super heavy game. This is based on Flotilla. It is called Seastead. It is, you can see the similarities, you can see the bones there, but it is played completely differently. So with Seastead, you have 4 different flotillas out in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the player area. Plus your player board. On your turn, you have 2 options. You can either dive for resources, in which case you are drawing a card and you are choosing which side of the card you want. So you get part of the card and you give your opponent the other part of the card. So you have to be very careful in what you're giving to your opponent in this aspect. But at the same time, you need what you need. So the alternative is to build. You use the resources you've collected to build one of the buildings off of your player board into one of the 6 flotillas. There are specific rules in terms of where you can build, and you get different bonuses for building in different areas, different resources for different flotillas. There's a way to move around which flotillas want which resources. Very interesting 2-player game. I thought it was a unique twist on full-fledged flotilla. It gives you that taste without having to pull out the massive game that covers the entire table. Yeah.
I prefer Flotilla.
I know. Oh, and if I had my choice, I would be hard to say because I really enjoy both of them. It's just Flotilla is so much harder to get to the table. So, but anyhow.
This is 27.
There's 27? Oh, wow. It's really far down there for you. Okay. Well, fine. I'll find somebody else to play with me. But that is my number 7, Seastead. Okay.
You were on 7?
I was on 7. Yes,
okay.
we're on 7.
I looked at the game before.
I'm surprised we've had
my
no crossovers
number 7 will probably be a crossover, I think.
Okay.
This was one of the few that I know will be crossovers. Actually, probably the 3rd one that'll be a crossover.
Just keep going.
Anyway, my number 7 is a game that we have tried to videotape, record 3 times, and every time something weird has happened, I think it's telling us the spirits did not want us to record it.
The spirits do not want this one recorded.
This is Spirits of the Wild. This is all about placing not cubes, they're stones into different animals, the ones that they want to appease them to be able to score them.
Yeah.
All the while trying to open up the coyote so you can move the coyote to wherever so you can stop the other player from scoring certain things or putting stones in certain things.
Yeah.
And the round ends when there's 3 of them. The 3 of the clear stones.
3 of the clear stones have come out, yes.
And those stones you can place those stones so you for sure to score that animal double.
The animal you put it on scores double, but you can no longer touch that animal after you've put it down. But the minute the 3rd one shows up, or is it the 5th one? Now I don't remember. But the minute it shows up in the cup, that's it. Game's over. There's
it's really cool. It is a game of chance because you don't know what's coming out.
Yeah.
And you always have somebody in there that's stealing the gems you need. But it is a real cool game. This is a game from Mattel. And she brought this home when she did a trip out to California with her brother.
Yeah.
And came home
it was a fluke thing I found at Target. We were my brother and I were out shopping at Target for something, and of course he and I are both into board games, so we went to the game section and I brought this home, and it looked interesting, but it was Mattel.
I had not heard of it.
No, so. I hadn't either, and now it's like a grail game for people because you
a lot of people
cannot
are
find
for
it.
This game though.
I would love to see this reprinted.
Yeah, this is another 2-player game. I'm not sure if I've won. I may have won this once.
I'm sure you have.
But she's probably won it more. But yes,
this is my stats on these games.
Number 7, Spirits of the Wild.
This one will show up later. There's no maybe about it. All right, my number 6. My number 6 is a very sprawling exploration game based in Greece. This is Akrotiri. We've actually played this one in Greece. We took it with us knowing we were going to an Akrotiri on our trip to Greece back in 2018, and we got to play it on that island. Very interesting playing it looking out at the Aegean Sea. So, with this one, you are building out islands. The game is centered around the island of Santorini, at that time called the island of Thera, if I remember correctly. So you have your island out, and you are putting out tiles on your turn. You have a hand of tiles, so you can choose which one you're putting out. You're putting out tiles to build out the islands. Each of the 4 corners on each tile, some of them will show islands, others show just open sea. You're building out all of the islands in order to lay down icons that you can later associate with your map cards. You have map cards that are trying to tell you where the lost temples are. And the whole goal of the game is to find all of the lost temples. So the cards may tell you that, well, you have a volcano to the north and mountains to the west and open water to the east. And you're looking for those icons in relation to one empty island on the board. The island that those icons are on don't have to be completed, but the island that you're laying down on does. So, and of course, once an island has been claimed with an empty temple, with a new temple, then nobody else can claim that island. But those same icons can be used repeatedly for multiple things. It is just a really neat mapping game. All of the cards are based totally on your point of view. So, yes, the mountains may be to my west. For me, they're to my west, but for my opponent, they're to his east. That being said, there's mountains all over the place. So it's just, I really enjoy this one.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. This has fallen off a lot since I can't seem to win this one either. I have a hard time. I have a hard time getting them to line up, or when I do just about have them lined up, she has it lined up and take the island I'm about to take. So
he's acting
and you
like
can only
I
take
win
the island
every
once.
Game.
So
yes, every island can only be taken once. He's acting like I win every game we play in that.
2-player games you do.
Okay, yeah, stats are definitely
stats are coming up.
Okay, next.
Okay, so my number 6 is a lot like Lost Cities. This is Trambon.
Oh, wow.
This is all about building your train routes in the way you do in Lost Cities. You're putting trains in sequential order or ascending order, but you have to have a train engine first, which you have to buy. So the cards that come up, you can use them as passengers because you have train stations set up in the middle of the board. Mm-hmm. You can put passengers out at the train stations, and then as soon as a certain amount of passengers get onto that train station, that train's going to score. Yeah. So you'll be able to have certain multiples of different color trains out, unlike Lost Cities where you can only have one row of each color.
Right.
But you have to have an engine for each one of them. But when the passengers fill up the train station, that train will score, and you'll get rid of those. I believe you get rid of those cards. But they're points at the end of the game, so you just set them aside. Or you can use the card for money, which is buying the trains and stuff.
Yes.
Or you're using them for the number that's on it to put them in order in your train. But it's really cool, just trying to make sure you're getting the right trains and getting the passengers up. It has that little mechanism like in Rockstar, where if there's a certain amount of cards in that area, you got to stop. Then you do a top 10 list or whatever it was, the top 40 or whatever it was. But this is the train's going to score now, and then you're going to get points for that train.
I don't remember much
That's
about
really
this
cool.
one.
I believe I've won this one a few times. We have had this game for a long time. This is an old Mayfair game.
2016, 2017, 2018,
so
somewhere in there.
We've played it quite a few times, I believe.
While.
So, but
this came in at 23 for me.
Drown Bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
23.
But this is my number 6.
All right. My number 5 takes us into the stratosphere. This one is a card game. You are technically building out a telescope. But you are... Okay, so this is Stellar. This is one we picked up on a fluke because it was a 2-player game, which is honestly why we pick up most of our 2-player games, is because they are geared at 2-player. This one, you're building out a pyramid, a telescope. As you're doing so, you are having to pick one card to put down into your telescope, but you're also having to pick one card that sits off to the side.
Into your notebook.
And that's ultimately they both score. But it's just a weird, the notebook tells you what is scoring it's a very interesting mechanism.
Yeah, because you're trying to group those planets into certain ways to help out your scoring, your notebook scoring, the way it's going to score. So it's really cool.
I really like this one, and we have not played it recently, but I always want to. This is one of those that I really want to get to the table more often. It's a great... Unfortunately, for a 2-player game, it takes up some real estate. It does take up a good chunk of space. Anyhow, that is my number 5. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, that's one of my top 20.
Okay.
Probably because we hadn't played it in a while.
We haven't played it in a while.
My number 5 will not even be in her top 100 of the 38 games, 2-player games that we have. She absolutely hates this game, and I probably will never be able to play it again, though. This is 7 Wonders Duel.
I don't mind 7 Wonders Duel.
She hates this game. Don't let her lie to you, everybody.
Oh, malarkey. It is... Where is it?
See, you didn't even make your list.
28. It is 28. I don't mind 7 Wonders Duel.
She complains every time she plays this. 7 Wonders Duel is played a little bit different
because you steal the cards I want.
What was that again? What have I been saying this whole thing so far? Anyway, 7 Wonders Duel plays a little bit like regular 7 Wonders, though, but you have all your cards that you would normally pass around in a pyramid, and you take a card that's up, you can take that card off, you now have it. If it costs you resources, you have to pay the resources or pay the other person. You have to have the resources, Just and then it may open up a card in another row, so you kind of got to watch what card you're picking up. Do you want that card behind it? Do you think the other person is going to need it? So do you take that card, or do you go someplace and take another card?
And hope that person takes the one.
So it does have the war in it, and the war has another track on it, so you're moving the shield back and forth. If you get all the way to your opponent's side, you automatically win. Also has the science cards. If you get all 7 science tokens, you automatically win. But yeah, I really like this. I almost prefer it over 7 Wonders.
I like 7 Wonders in a large group.
Yeah, 7 Wonders in a large group, but I do like this. We even have a customized board that we can set the cards in for each time. Because it's 3 rounds that you're playing, and the cards are going to come out in a different shape.
And they're the little bitty cards that tend to bend easily, so they don't...
They're like the original Ticket to Ride size cards.
Yeah,
the little bitty cards from there.
They tend to move around, and the shapes get wonky. So we bought this custom board. We've only used half a dozen times, but it's still worth the money.
Anyway, but yes, that is my number 5, Seven Wonders Duel.
All right, my number 4, I can pretty well guarantee is not going to be on his list. This is one of the first Polyomino games we ever owned, one of the first 2-player games we ever owned. This is Patchwork.
It's in my top 20.
Well, it's not in your top 10.
Not my top 10, though. No.
Okay. So with Patchwork, you are essentially, as it would imply, you are building a patchwork quilt. You've got a ring of tiles out. You have a marker that moves around throughout the ring, and you are allowed to look at the 3 tiles in front of the marker. And then you purchase those tiles with buttons. Your currency is buttons. There have been numerous not expansions, but iterations of this game where the currency changes out. Like we have the Halloween themed one. We've never played it. It's eyeballs. I know there's a Valentine's one. I think it's chocolate. So there's all different kinds of different ones.
There's a Christmas one. There's a patriotic one. I think there's one almost for every country.
I think so, yeah. There's a lot of variations of this one. But you're taking one of those 3 tiles and fitting it into your quilt. The game ends... Well, this one has one of those tracks that whoever is last in the turn order
gets to go again.
So whoever's last on the track goes first, and you just keep going. But there is a timer element on each of the tiles you pick up that tells you how far on that track you have to move ahead. So it's a fine balance between, can I afford this tile? Does it fit on my board? And how far is it going to move me ahead? Because I really need that tile that's 6 spaces ahead. And I don't want to go too far where my opponent is going to get 1 or 2 extra turns before I get another one, and he bypasses that tile altogether. So there's a lot to look at, but I love Polyomino games, and this is one of the easiest to play, but yet still challenging. It's hard to get a positive score in this one because you're counting out the number of buttons on your board. So that is one of your scoring mechanisms, minus all the blank spaces on your board. So getting a positive score on this one's a little tough in the beginning. So you can kind of get your rhythm going. But anyway, yeah, I love this one. That is my number 4, Patchwork.
Nice. My number 4, I don't think this is going to be on your list. But we'll see. This is Carcassonne the Castle.
This is actually number 14.
Hey, look at that. It's in the Listener Center top 20.
Yeah.
So this is all about just kind of a lot like Carcassonne, because it is a Carcassonne. You have the little square tiles that you're placing out inside of a castle wall. The castle wall is actually your scoring track, so as you're scoring, you're going around. On the scoring track, there are small little rewards. If you make it there, you get the reward. Yep. The tiles all have either courtyards, they have houses, they have towers, and they have paths. The paths are like the roads, so you're going to score once the path ends if you have a knight on it or the person on it. Courtyard score when they're closed in at the end of the game. I believe the courtyard score at the if you have a market in that courtyard, you're going to score the number of areas that you have.
And you don't put markets there; they're already pre-printed on the tiles. You score by the number of markets or something like that.
The houses score when they are finished, and you claim that, and they finish, and you score however big it is. The castle's the same way. When they are finished, you score them.
Yes.
So, but this takes Carcassonne and say, okay, you've got to build it, and it's not a square either. That it's a kind of a in and out area around.
It's kind of like puzzle piece frame.
As in Carcassonne, all the pieces need to match up, except for on the outside wall. They don't have, like a road can run into one of the castle walls. It's fine. Or you can build right up against the castle wall with a house. That's fine. Then when they're out in the middle, a road has to hit a road in it.
I think that's the only thing that has to match is the roads.
Right. And then the castles can match, or the towers can bump up against a house, but you're not going to score it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really like this one. I don't know if it's just because there is only a certain place you can score this thing at or build in this, or if it's on the scoreboard where you're getting extra rewards for doing different things along the track.
I think this was just different enough to make it interesting because of that enclosed area.
And this is another one I guess is hard to get because it's been out of print for a while now.
Yeah,
so.
We've had it for a long time.
Yeah, this is Carcassonne the Castle, my number 4.
That's a good one. Like I said, it's my number 14, so it's not too far off. All right, my number 3 is a newer one we got. It's actually the box. I forget how small this box is until we pull it out. But this is Botanic or Botanic. I don't know how it's pronounced, but regardless, this one it feels like Pipe Lane, but not quite. Oh, it is. You're building pipes out, but anyway.
It's how you get the pipes is a little different.
Right. How you get the pipes is different. So at the start of each round, you have 3 tiles up on top, and whoever's turn it is gets to choose the first one. Then the second player your opponent gets the second one, and then you get whichever is last. Whichever is left. When you get them, you cannot immediately lay them into your side of the grid, though. You have to put them onto a central board. You have 2 choices on putting them onto the board. You can either lay them down onto your side of the board, in which case it is stuck there until it is released. But you can only lay 1 tile per section. There's 5 sections. Or you can lay it into the center. In the center, you can release something that is either on your side, but you take the risk of releasing something on your opponent's side. That could be good or bad. Maybe they're not ready for it yet. And then you're forcing them to have to lay it down somewhere. But you release those by either laying something of the same color tile. There's, I think, 4 different colors in the game. Or something of the same shape. And I don't remember how many different pattern shapes there are. But if you lay something down the same color or shape, you release that tile. And then now you are free to place that tile into your network of pipes. At the end of the game, you're scoring your pipes based on how many flowers there are, how often you're able to get like colors together. Just a really interesting take on pipe lane games. So I really like this one. Very small box. Even with the tile lane aspect to it, it's not a huge footprint.
Yeah.
Because you really only get about, I would say easily only a third of the tiles you're taking are ever going to make it into your network. The rest of them end up staying on that center board. So, But yeah, good one. Botanic.
This is 20.
Botanic, something like that.
This is 23. Because another one,
I love this one. We did a video on this one a long time ago when we first got it.
I
really like
don't
this
do
one.
well at pipe making, I guess. So my number 3 is probably not even on her list because I know how much she disliked it. She played it. She was all right with it, but it's not something she's going to pull off this shelf. This is Marvel Dice Thrones, and of that one, it is Black Widow versus Doctor Strange.
Nope. He is right on this one. Actually, this came in at number 38, and then the other one we have with all 4 of them. 38 and 39 out of 39.
So this is basically a head-to-head battle. You can play teams, which is the way we kind of prefer to do it. We've played it head-to-head. Neither one of us are big in confrontation, but I liked how this one goes. What is weird, though, is I don't really like dice games, and this is all 100% luck.
Oh, yeah,
Depends on how you roll, though. But you have different powers out depending on what you roll, and you have a certain amount of times you can roll the dice, and then you got to figure out, okay, what power am I going to do to either do something to help me out or to attack my opponent. I've always played Doctor Strange. I love how he has certain spells. None of his components really go up. He just has a bunch of spells that he can do. Then he can add to damage after he's already attacked or before he attacked or keep other people from attacking. But yeah. If I'm going to play Dice Thrones, I'm going to play Doctor Strange. Doctor Who. I don't know if they have a Doctor Who or not.
We don't even own a Doctor Who game.
But I'm going to play Doctor Strange. I think I've played one other. I think I played Loki and just did not like Loki. I like the Doctor Strange better. So
I mean, it has a Yahtzee mechanism on the dice, and I'm fine with Yahtzee I like Yahtzee. I don't win at it, but I like Yahtzee as a group game type of thing. I just, between the dice and the cards, I have had 0 luck playing this game. I cannot make it work for me. And I'm at that point where I don't even want to try anymore. And I know I'm in the minority. I know Dice Thrones as a whole is a very popular game out there. It is just not for me. Luckily, your son loves it. So you have somebody to play with.
Yep. And I have an expansion he doesn't have, and he has an expansion we don't have.
Yep.
So that is my number 3, Marvel Dice Thrones.
All right. My number 2. My number 2 is a crossover. I'm shocked it took this long to get to one. But
yeah, so am I.
You called it. It is mandala. And as
I
he explained,
even said number 2, did I? Yes,
yeah.
they know.
Yeah, I know, whatever. Which means you can guess what my number 1 is at this point. Anyway. All right, so mandala, as he explained, you're basically playing out 6 different styles of cards, and they're little square cards, trying to score points, break the mandala. The cards that are on the top of the mountain in the center area is what scores in your cup. Ultimately, that's what you're trying to aim for. Whereas cards in the field, once they're laid down, they're used to basically break the tie of who gets to choose off the mountain first. And at that point, those cards get discarded. You never see them again. So you don't want to lay cards down in the field that you ultimately want to get into your cup, because you're not going to get them there. So yeah, I love this one. I love the card play of it. It takes up a good deal of table space for a 2-player game, but I love the way this one plays. So yeah, that's my number 2, mandala.
Yep. Yeah, I even said number 2.
You did.
Okay, my number 2 is also a crossover. It is your number 10.
Oh,
this is Fields of Arle.
Really?
Yes, I'd like. This reminds me of how the worker placement kind of reminds me of A Feast for Odin, not A Feast of Odin. That's a whole different game. A Feast of Odin. How you only one person take that spot, and we do have quite heated discussions on when somebody takes their spot. I take her spot a lot in this game. But I do like the fact that you have a field out here that has a lot of peat in it, and you've got to get that peat up, because the peat is going to be used to do other things, like build buildings or do other things in the market area. You also have to get those dikes pushed back to dry out your land so you can get animals out there, because you're going to lose points if you don't get animals out.
And,
so you can plant other things to get resources you're going to need to build all these buildings, plus the buildings you can build. And the fact that you can only do one side. You do the fall on one side and then the summer on the other side.
Spring,
or spring and winter, or whatever it is. And
spring and fall.
So if you are first to go on the winter side or fall side, and you're still on the other side, and you're like going, I really need that action, you can go over and do that action, but now you're not going to be first on that side anymore.
You lose your first player.
You lose your first player marker, though. But you have your little stack of people, and they're going out, and then you can upgrade each action as to what you're going to get. So I really like that, being able to upgrade actions. I love that in a game where you can upgrade the action by doing other things to bring that up, because you're going to pay certain things.
You pay some wood, you pay some clay, whatever.
Right, and you've got to get that stuff. So you've got to be able to produce that stuff, or get it from another place to be able to have it, to take it down here to upgrade that. So I love having to go to different places to be able to make other things work. That, I think, is a lot of fun in a game, because when I get done with it, I feel like I actually did something.
Accomplished something.
And for this to be just a 2-player game, and now a 3-player game with the coffee and tea expansion, I believe is what it's called.
I don't know. I don't have the box up there.
Anyway, but I think that's what it was. It was coffee and tea. But yeah, that brings in new resources that you can use, and where you have to build a boat, and now you go out for a boat on a boat ride. There's a track on the side of your board where you keep track of the resources you have. When you deliver to a city, now you're going to take that token off your board, and you turn it over, and you're going to put it down, and it's going to cover up a certain amount of points, and whatever points is shown is how many points you're going to get at the end of the game. So you want to deliver as much as you can. But you also got your tractors to go out and take your peat in, and it's just so much going on. There's so many different ways to get to victory on how to get things to go up on your board. It's a lot of fun.
This feels like it should be a 4-player game.
Yes, it does, and it's only a 2-player game.
And at 4 players, I can't imagine.
And it plays pretty fast, I think. I mean, I think it's still like an hour game or so.
Yeah.
But it still plays pretty fast.
Yeah. I can't imagine how much bigger it would have to be to add a 3rd or 4th player. Well, 3rd player, we've never played a 3 players. I guess we'll find out eventually. But you would have to make those worker placement spots. You'd have to have more of them, I think. So I don't know, and I feel like that would probably dilute the game. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think the amount they have is just fine for 2 players. So
I agree. All right.
But yeah, that's number 2, Fields of Arle.
My number 1, I don't even have to look at. My number 1 again is a crossover. This is, you want to guess? I know.
Spirits of the Wild.
Spirits of the Wild. As he said, I found this one on a fluke on a trip to California, and I have loved it ever since. For a Mattel game, they knocked it out of the park. I really wish they would reprint this one. So, and as you said, you've got your player board with, I want to say, 5 or 6 different spirit animals on it. Each animal wants a different combination of stones. One of them may want 5 of the same color. One of them may want 1 of each color. One may want a set of 2 and a set of 3. You are using card play, and everybody can see your cards. They're all laid out on the table. You're using card play to collect stones out of the bowl, or to take some stones out of the bowl, throw them back in the bag and redraw new stones, take some stones out of there and put them on your board. All of the cards do something just a little bit different, and you're using those to obtain the stones you need to get onto your animals. The clear stones, once you like I said, it's got to be 5. I can't be 3 because 3 comes out way too fast. But once 5 of them appear in the bowl, or 5 of them appear in the game, not even the bowl.
Yeah,
it counts what's on player boards and what's in the bowl. So if you're not ready to grab one of those clear stones and you see 2 of them in the bowl, you play a card that says to pick up stones out of the bag, throw them back, or out of the bowl, throw them back into the bag and draw new ones. So you can get those back out of there until you're ready for them.
Yeah, because you can't play the clear stones unless your animal's full.
Yes. Well, you can, like, there's certain animals that say if you have 2, you'll get this many points. But if you have 3, you get this many points. If you have both, then you get this many points. You can stop at the 3.
Yeah.
So
you can stop at one of the scoring.
Yes, you can stop at one of them and double it with the clear stone, but then you can no longer fill anything else in on that animal. I love the way this one plays. And like I said, we have tried recording this one 3 times, and either the sound was bad, or the video was the coloring was awful, or something went wrong every time. So someday it's on my list to redo, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen. So, but
the spirits don't like it.
They do not want to be filmed. But yeah, that is my number 1, Spirits of the Wild.
Okay, my number 1 is a crossover.
Okay.
I think it was your number 9.
Fox and the Forest Duet?
No, it was not your number 9. It was your number 8.
Number 8, Curious Cargo.
This is Curious Cargo.
Wow.
This is a game that we got. This is by the same guy. I've been sitting here trying to remember his name, though, and I can't remember his name, but the same guy that made Pipeline. Yeah, Pipeline's not on there. Ryan Courtney.
There you go.
So this is by Ryan Courtney. It's based off of Pipeline, where you are basically a factory of Pipeline. But yeah, you're starting with these little machines at the beginning, and you're taking red and blue, or if you're playing with all 3 colors, purple pipes off of it, and you're trying to get them to go and cross over each other to get to the docks to load your trucks. And then you're also at the same time trying to get the same colors over to the other side to receive the stuff coming from your opponent, and you're trying to get them to line up. You're kind of trying to watch how they're setting their dock up to deliver. So you want your receiving dock to kind of match that in reverse, so that when the truck comes over, they kind of line up perfectly for yours. But if you can't get any stock out, they can't push anything over, or they're not pushing anything over, but you're going up a track and getting rewards as you're receiving things and pushing things out and using trucks. There's cards that you can use to do different things to
get more trucks or to get more tiles.
This game, when we first played this and we got done playing this, we were like, what was that? It's like our brain hurt.
Well, and this is when we talked about filming when we first got it, because it was brand new. And ultimately we decided the AP in this one is so much.
Yeah, because
it would be very difficult.
Because you only got 3 tokens to choose from, because you've got 3 actions on each turn. You can play 2 tokens, draw 1. You can draw 2 and play one, but the ones you don't use go down on a stack, and then on your turn you can play the ones on top of your stack, 1 for each action. So you're only getting 3 actions to play things out. Yeah, you can't dig down. You've got to work your way down.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I just take right off my pile here now and just get these tiles out? But they haven't worked yet, so if I draw 2, I'm only going to be able to play 1. Do I just draw 1? What happens if I can't play that one either? well, I'll draw another one. I can't play that. I draw a third one. Now I'm making my stack even taller. So there's a lot to think about.
The game ends when the bag is empty.
Yeah.
So you don't want to empty the bag until you've actually got something accomplished. Yeah. So you have to play the tiles in your stash.
You can lay tiles on top of other tiles, but they got to lay flat on it. So you have scaffolding that are points at the end of the game if you have not used them.
Right.
But you can use them to say, like, this one's going to hang over by 1 square, so I can take this 1 square scaffolding, stick it there, and I'll put it in there. Mm-hmm. But I'm losing the point for that, but I may be connecting a pipe to put out more product.
Yeah, because you can't remove tiles you've already placed, but you can build on top of them.
Right.
And to maybe
change it out.
To divert your pipe someplace else. Yeah, change the color of something. Yeah.
So it's really interesting, really
it's very thinky.
So that is my number 1, Curious Cargo.
And that is our top 10 two-player games. As I said, we own 39 games, 38 if you count the Marvel Dice Throne as one entity, but that are solely designed for 2 players. Although that Marvel.
What was your number 11?
My number 11 was Voltage.
Voltage?
Yeah, little card game.
That was 21. My number 11 was Tesla versus Edison Duel.
That was my number 22.
Okay.
Anyway, that is it for this top 10. Please let us know what your favorite two-player games are. Let us know if you want us to expand this to games designed for 4 players, but we think play best at 2, which is going to be a hard list, actually, because we don't get to do a lot of games at both 4 and 2 player.
Yeah, our top 10 games that play great at 2 players. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, that is it for this list for today.
Till then, we'll see you at the next one.